I'd like to thank Playvig.com for sponsoring this video and helping me a ton through the adpocalypse. So Playvig itself is a platform that allows players of all different levels to win prizes such as cash by completing single player quests or by competing in tournaments, which are in fact added every single Friday. Currently, they are giving away $10,000 in guaranteed prize pool money for tournament prizes between November 15th and December 31st. So now is really good a time as any to give it a try. So maybe I'll see you there. So I've been seeing a lot of Necros gameplay flying around. Today I want to talk about what I feel like he's doing correctly in this game specifically and some of the really cool things that he does, or just mainly the good things that he does. Now with that said, I do have a ton of other Genji gameplays, so if you want to see a guide on just any other player that plays Genji that's really prevalent, you're probably going to be able to find it down there in the comment section down below, or the description, or the card at the top of the screen right now. There will be a playlist. So there you go with that. Anyways, I guess the first tip I'm going to give right here is, of course, Necros actually was spamming damage on the enemy shield. I know that you probably won't really want to as Genji, but he does do decent damage to shield, so, I mean, if you're pushed up ahead, just go for that. Anyway, so I guess some more important things. Right here, of course, going after the enemy opponent on high ground, that's an important thing to do. He mainly tries to focus opponents on high ground. Right here, though, something that I feel like is extremely important. When he's waiting for the nano blade, he actually stands, pretty out in the open. Of course, to the side, so the enemy can't hit him way too easily, but still out in the open, and essentially just gives his team a pretty good shot at hitting, of course, the nano, and then he goes for the blade and gets quite a few kills and does stuff from there. If you have an Ana and you're not sure how good she is, try to do that. Try to make it easy for her. And I guess another thing that was kind of good about that fight is that he actually tried to slice at the Mercy, but he didn't overextend. He figured out that he probably couldn't kill her, and he went for someone else, so there you go with that as well. And he actually didn't flank behind the enemies. Instead, he kind of just fought to the side of them for a while, and then, of course, nanoed again when he was in vision. Really easy to just hit the enemies. All right, here, of course, pushing up forward a little bit. Again, you do want to just take high ground whenever you can as this character. If there's a lot of opponents on high ground pushing, of course, just try to spam a little bit of damage at them and then jump off the high ground. Don't die for high ground, but do contest it a little bit, get some time, and just really give your teammates, I guess, a little bit more time to spam damage at the high ground, especially if your team has a lot of hit scan or a slow push comp like a lot of the team has that Necros is playing with right now. So it kind of does that, pushes around, of course, pushes forward a little bit, getting some damage on the shield, doing whatever, just normal Genji stuff right here. One thing that we actually saw a few seconds ago is that he actually was spamming at the choke point all the time with his left click. That's the thing that you should probably be doing. It will just help you get a little bit more ult charge, and the thing that allowed him to do was actually just one-shot the enemy Mora because she walked around the corner, got hit twice in the head by shurikens, and then he just shifted in, right-clicked her, meleeed her, she was dead, he could shift out and be safe. And that's the thing you kind of want to do. You want to make sure that you don't go in unless you think that you have an ability to get a kill and get back out, because otherwise you're just going 1-for-1 and it's not really worth it. I mean, it kind of is on offense, but if you can, go for those really safe ways to get kills, and that's going to be really a little bit better for you. Right here, of course, he's jumping around. Right there, I guess he could have ulted on that Reinhardt, but it was a good thing that he didn't. For the most part, Necros is just trying to save. Unfortunately, he gets bonds right there. But he tries to save his ultimate until a team fight is happening. And other than that, he just kind of waits and just tries to get picks with his regular kit. Right here, another really good example against the soldier. I guess he could have ulted this, but he didn't. And that's what you should be trying to do as well. Don't ult unless there's a very good opportunity. And I think someone else on the enemy team gets picked in a few seconds. Perfect. Now we can just ult in, gets nanoed again, and jumps on the enemy. Of course, Zarya goes for the shield, so he starts to ignore her immediately, goes after the Orisa, sees this Ana in the back line, and then goes after the Zarya again eventually. A thing that we should learn from that right there is that you should really target prioritize, and also make sure that you try to go in without wasting your Swift Strike at the very beginning, because if you Swift Strike in and you don't get a kill, the enemies can just focus you and maybe kill you. However, if you happen to just walk up next to the enemies and then ult and then get nanoed and then start slashing and then eventually Swift Strike in after somebody's really low just to follow up, or to just kind of follow their engage or their disengage, I guess, that's a lot better for you, and you should be positioned really close up when you're Swift Striking. Not when you're Swift Striking, when you're ulting, and mainly playing around walls will give you good positioning for that, or even just playing right behind your tanks. That can be a good thing to do as well. Anyways, here we are on to defense, of course. Maybe not as fun on Genji, of course. Offense is where you can just pop off a ton. And for the most part on defense, he just kind of stays on high ground, spams a lot of damage. One thing I should say right here is that, of course, he is trying to get a bit of damage on the supports, but mainly he tries to focus the tanks and just charge a lot of ultimate off of them. He can just keep hitting that tank again and again and again, combo it with his teammates, and maybe get a kill on it. And even if he doesn't get a kill, well, as you see right here, he's already at 60% ult, 70%, 80%, whatever. Of course, he got a few kills on some squishies, but there we go with that. Finally finished it off again with a team wipe and with an ultimate wipe, so that's kind of nice. But what you should be doing on defense as Genji is just playing super passive, super defensive, just spamming out damage unless you see a kill that you know you can get. If you know you can get that, go in, go full force, don't be afraid, and then Swift Strike immediately out, or just go for the other kills that are mainly waiting there as well. Just don't go in when people are at full health or when people are getting healed at over 3/4 health, because you're probably going to just have a very risky fight, and it's almost never worth it for you. So take the good engagements, as that's what Genji is really, really good at. All right, here, he actually gets nanoed without his ultimate, which is something I see a lot of people not wanting to do, but as you see, it actually worked pretty well for Genji, because he charges up his ultimate almost all the way up immediately after getting nanoed, so that's pretty nice. Of course, goes to the health pack, gets his health back up, and now he has his ultimate, so he can actually team wipe the enemies, or at least the Orisa and whoever else is over here, pretty easily. That's a thing that you can do. That's a thing you can ask for your Ana to give you, because again, you can, for the most part, be able to get a instant ultimate for a nano. So it's kind of like trading ultimates, but you're still getting a lot of just value out of the nano, because at least, you know, you're dealing decent damage, and then you have the ult, and you can try to combo. That's important, especially if you need a team wipe ultimate really quickly. Just kind of ask for that from your teammates. Some people might not go for it, but I feel like quite a few people will, and they push off the point right there. Necros doing pretty well. I think in a few seconds he decides to push up a little bit, and unfortunately his team gets wiped, so that's not way too great, but whatever. This is generally a pretty good idea to do. Try to go after the enemy backline. You know, they're pretty low right here. You can go in decently easily enough, just spamming out damage until he can finally just take her out. I think maybe he can't take her out, but I'm pretty sure he does. Right there, finally takes her out. But as you see at the top part of the screen right now, Necros' team just kind of died. You know, that happens sometimes. You just have to deal with that. And eventually, you know, whatever, they get the point, and now Necros and his team is on to the next part. So really, whatever. I think in a few seconds right here, people are just flying all over the air. There's Tracer, there's Genji, there's everyone. When he's trying to hit people in the air, you see him stopping, going for the right clicks for, you know, like the shotgun, triple shot fire, and instead, of course, going for the primary fire, the left clicks, and shooting to where they're probably going to be. I don't feel like there's way too much to explain about shooting as Genji. Just play it as a projectile, predict with it, whatever. I can't tell you way too much other than that. Unfortunately, he gets grabbed right there by the Orisa, but he finally does kill her, and the thing that was nice about that is that he actually changed his focus from the Mercy to the Orisa. So at the beginning, he was like, okay, gotta kill the Mercy, realizes that he can't kill that, and just switches onto the Orisa. And it allowed so that even though he couldn't, you know, get the target that he wanted, he still got a target. And then I think he also got somebody else. I don't remember, but yeah, I think he got another person right there. So there we go. That's kind of nice as well. Really just not being too focused on getting one kill with your ult is important. And even though, you know, Mercy is a good kill to get, it's not worth dying in your ultimate for. If you can get, you know, a kill from somebody else a little bit easier. All right, here, he's kind of just pushing up a little bit. What you can do as Genji is just kind of play around the point, play around the walls, and that's the thing that we see him do a lot. Necros is almost always just playing around walls, spamming right click, spamming left click. Eventually, the opponents do get a little bit too close, so he backs off, so, you know, whatever. But he does, again, come up close, play next to the walls, and it does just allow Genji to play a lot safer, and hopefully not be able to be picked, you know, nearly as much, because if you're out in the open as Genji, I mean, you can be 0 to death without way too much trouble, but if you're spamming damage around walls next to the cart, it should be a little bit better for you, so that's kind of nice. Unfortunately, you get sleep darted right here, and I think that they're going to go for another nano blade. That's what they've been doing for quite a while. I mean, that's obviously just kind of the bread and butter to do with this team comp, so, you know, I'm just going to keep repeating it, whatever. Mercy over there, unfortunately, gets picked off by Necros, so that's good for him. Goes for an ultimate, picks out that guy, picks out another guy, but right here, I guess he should have engaged, or, I mean, disengaged, and finally gets picked off. But I think his team can engage on these guys and finally kill him, so it wasn't way too bad for them. Oh, whatever. Sometimes just random stuff happens. And since he was antied by that Ana, he couldn't get healed from his support, so yeah, that kind of sucked. Anyways, we're continuing right here, though, just kind of waiting up. In a few seconds, you know, as he finally gets back to the point, the enemies are going to try to make, you know, their final push. They only have about a minute left, so it's going to be kind of hard for them, but, you know, they're still going to try to do that. And right here, of course, the Genji jumps in, nanos himself, so that's kind of annoying. The enemy Mercy goes for ultimate as well, and one thing you should remember is that when the enemy Mercy is ulting, you can almost 100% of the time kill the enemy support that is not the Mercy easily. For some reason, if it's Zen, Lucio, whatever, Ana, if the Mercy's ulting, their team just kind of ignores that character because, you know, save the protected, you know, protect the Mercy. That's people's mindsets, and you should really just take that free kill and try to use it as a reset if you possibly can. And that's what he did right there, and he got a free kill on the Ana. Unfortunately, his team got wiped by all those ultimates, but he still did at least go 1-for-1 himself within like a 1v5, so, you know, that was fine in itself. Right here, I think the enemy Winston's going to jump up in a few seconds, jumps around. Against Winston, of course, you want to make sure that you are still attacking him, you are damaging him, you're making sure that his health bar is low, but don't overextend. He could have easily, Necros that is, could have easily walked around the corner right there and probably would have died, maybe killed the Winston, but went 1-for-1, but instead he waits, he backs up, and right here now we can just engage on the enemies and do pretty fine. Jumping on, I think, whatever, just backing off for a second, but then gonna eventually ultimate, jump on the enemy team and get another team wipe. So he could have been dead right here during this whole team fight if he would have overextended for that Winston, but instead he tapped out a little bit, I guess, got some damage on the Winston, and then finally engaged again. And there you go. I think overall what we can learn from this and from Necros is that it's a good idea to go in, get those kills, but then at other times make sure to play passive and don't die for kills. Just take kills that are really placed in front of you and try to do your best off of those, and oftentimes that can win you a game in itself. Just almost always being up on the field and almost being a piece to the game of chess that is just ready to attack. Anyways, as always, guys, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like or comment down below your own tips about Genji. Again, if you want to see any more Genji videos, there is going to be a card at the top part of the screen right now, or an end card, which you can click onto a playlist with a ton of Genji videos. And anyways, as always, guys, thank you all for watching, and as always, have a wonderful day.